Hello and welcome to the Campbell Window Film YouTube channel. I've just returned from the International Window Film Conference and Tin-Off in San Antonio, Texas. This is an annual event where dealers, manufacturers, distributors, and vendors that supply products and services to the window film industry get together to exchange ideas and new technology. I was honored to have been asked to present and my topic was how I grew my security window film business. I had many people come up afterwards and ask if they could have slides or if I wouldn't mind airing the presentation, so I'm putting it here on the YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I'll get right into it. Enjoy. Wow, Casey, thank you for that very nice introduction. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see a full room of people. I was honored when Window Film Magazine asked me if I would come down and be an ambassador for their it's kind of a mentorship program that they have here. And over the years, I've had a lot of mentors inside this business that I've gleaned a lot of information from, some of whom are in the room. And I see one of them standing right over here. Hey, Eddie Russell. How you doing, bud?
Good morning.
So we have to have mentors to learn this very different business, right? There's a lot of unique information about window film that you're never going to learn unless you know people in the window film business. So I'm glad to be here and give back. So I'm going to be in the Ambassador's Lounge today after this presentation from 2 to 3 and tomorrow as well, and Saturday from 11 to 12. The idea behind that is for you to come and bend my ear and just ask me any questions you have about how I grew my business. I'm going to go over a lot of that right now in this presentation, but I'm here to talk to you and answer any questions you have because I want to help you guys grow your business. We have to come together as a community. Our real competitor is the glass industry. So look how small this room is. I was just at the Glass Build show 2 weeks ago in Vegas. Massive show. And I was just at GSX, which is Global Security Exchange in Vegas yesterday. I just flew in yesterday from there. That's also a lot of competitors there, like a lot of competitive fenestration specific security vendors there. So we have to keep up our game, keep up our reputation as a window film industry. So we have to come together at this event and exchange ideas. I'm going to tell you how I grew my security business. There are many ways to grow a business. This one's just mine, and I explain that by telling my story. So in order to start that out and set the stage, you have to roll the calendar back 30 years. If I get the clicker to work. I'm keeping you in a state of suspense. There it is. This is a 1972 Chevy van and a 1968 human being, which happens to be me. I moved out here in 1988, 30 years ago, with visions of grandeur. I was going to be a rock star. I was actually a fairly accomplished drummer. I had everything I owned in the back of that van. Moved from North Carolina to LA. Got out here and had a very rude awakening. No one would rent an apartment to me because I didn't have a paycheck stub, I didn't have any references, I didn't have any money, knew no one of influence. So I had to put everything in storage and actually lived in that van for about a month. It took me a while to find a job, to get a paycheck stub, and then to secure a lease. So this is sort of a rags to riches story. I think there's probably a lot of you in here that have started out this way. How many of you started out one man in a pickup truck? Yep, quite a few of you. So this is not an uncommon story. I know some of you inherit your businesses from family members or you purchased them, but I just built it. I didn't know what I was doing. You can see I hand-wrote stencils on the side of the van there. Campbell's mobile window tent. Mobile auto tent. I didn't know how to tent yet at this time. I'll figure this thing out in a second. Today we have grown to be one of the larger window film dealers in the country. I attribute that to a lot of things: mentors, a great staff, being able to retain employees for a very long period of time. As soon as you lose an employee, you really set you back. We have about 25 to 30 employees depending on the time of year. We have won several awards from a manufacturer's name I will not mention. It's up there on the screen. We have large commercial certification from them, which is kind of hard to get. So what happened was I started out as an automotive guy, right? Most of us do. I came to LA, I was passionate about music and window film. And I'm sorry, not window film, music and cars. So if you follow your heart and do what you love to do, success will come to you, right? I really loved music and I was pretty passionate about it, and I did manage to get in a rock band, and we signed a record deal, and we toured, and we did all that cool stuff. But I knew that I needed to, there was an entrepreneurial side that said, you need to take care of yourself because you never want to go back and live in that van again. So I put all my creative energy into the business, and it just took off. But I was really passionate about automotive, so when people would call, I was a car enthusiast. I knew everything about cars, I knew everything about film, I knew everything about their year, make, and model, the stitching and the wheel availability for that year, make, and model, and I could just talk to them enthusiastically about their car. And then they would say, okay, well, let me call the other guy because I'm kind of expensive. And then they would hang up, but they would call back, right? Because the reason why they came back to me is because I understood the reason why they're putting the tint on their car is to enhance the feeling they get when they're behind the wheel. That's why people are car enthusiasts. That feeling you get, you can't get that anywhere else, sitting behind the wheel. That was the why. So we're going to talk about the why. Anyone know what the golden circle is? Have you heard of this? One person, okay. Write this down, go to YouTube and enter in golden circle. Not right now. It looks like the Target logo. There's 3 rings. The outside ring is what we do. The next ring is how we do it. And the center, the nucleus of everything, and the reason why your customers buy from you is why. If you can't identify what your why is, you need to go home and do that real quick. Very few organizations know why they do what they do. Most of us think that it's for the money. The money doesn't come easy that way. The money comes as a result of you doing the why. It just follows. Just like I was saying with the cars, I didn't care what day of week it was. To me, weekends were speed bumps. They just got in the way of me earning money. But they also got in the way of me being in my shop, being around people, being around exotic cars. I loved what I did, so I didn't care what day of week it was. The money followed. The why is the core purpose or the essence of the existence of your organization. You have to be able to identify that. You have to be able to give that vision so your employees not only understand it, but feel it too, and they're on board with it. So they want your vision too, like they're on board with it. That's the key thing. You've got to get your staff on board with your vision. So the purpose is kind of, or the why is sort of your purpose, your core purpose. So I would ask you, what kind of trade shows do you like to go to? Do you like to go to automotive shows? Do you like to go to security shows? Do you like to go to, what do you do on the weekends? I like to go to do things outdoors. And my wife and I both train quite a bit. This is, pardon me? So, if you're doing what you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life, right? This is the idea. So this is all law enforcement right here. This is LAPD SWAT. I met someone who kind of got me into the fold with this group, and then they invited us to come out. They don't let civilians train here. This is Scott Reitz there in the center. He was the former SWAT trainer. That's my wife and I doing a knife attack drill. We really got into this whole idea of protecting people and property. That's my why. That's how I grew my security business. Just like my why was the automotive and the passion behind the auto enthusiast, protecting people and property is something I actually care about. If you notice first responders, military, police, why do they do that job? Why would someone want to go see that stuff that they see at a bad accident or a crime scene, or go jump out of a helicopter or something and go into the worst possible place in the world and risk their life, and for not very much money? Why do police put themselves in the between us, the regular people, that thin blue line, and the bad guys? Because they feel a purpose, a sense of purpose. That's just, they have to do it. We call that the sheepdog mentality. So when we talk about being successful in security, if you have the sheepdog mentality, you're going to be successful, I can guarantee you, because you're going to speak the language of the people that you're offering products and services to. And what you're doing is you're trying to help them solve a problem. We're not just trying to sell them something and come up with whatever reason to sell them something. We're actually going to look at it and we're going to try and solve their problem. And another guy will come in that doesn't really know his business very well and try and sell him some bad solution with a bad attachment system that's not going to hold. That one night, that one window when the balloon goes up and someone gets in and someone gets hurt or killed, all eyes are going to be on you. because you sold them something and it didn't work. It didn't even begin to work. So we have to be very, very careful. There is some civil and criminal liability to this game. So I'm not trying to discourage you guys. I'm just trying to make, we want to make sure that we galvanize the reputation of security window film, and we, quite honestly, present company excluded, there are some people out there that are selling really bad systems. I was at the GSX show recently, and I talked to a lot of security people, and when I told them about window film, someone kind of got that stink eye a little bit. It's like, window film has a little bit of a questionable reputation in the security world. And we need to make sure that we try to clean that up. And the way that we're going to do that is making sure that we're walking away. So if they've got a low price guy in there who's selling 4 mil for force entry on a 10-foot wide storefront door, window that's tempered glass with no attachment system, don't drop your price and sell them the same thing because the customer is ignorant, doesn't understand that is only going to fall in like a big piece of plywood when it's broken. We call that the welcome mat, right? So we have to stand firm with the correct solution. This is what I talk about, having that sense of purpose. I'm here because I want to help make sure that you're protecting your people, your property, and your merchandise. And that's it. This is my price, this is my material, this is what we're going to do for you, and this is what's going to work. And if our solution doesn't work, I'm going to walk away from it. Or if you want to hire the other guy that's going to do the cheap thing, go ahead. That's fine. We'll move on and we'll get the next one, because once you get inside the fold with these security people, you're in the club. You'll never screw up because you'll never get back in again. The integrity is everything in the security community. So people ask, how did you grow your business? Let me go back to this slide because that doesn't make any sense with what I just said. This is a slide that I'm using to depict growing your business a little bit before you leap into a completely different business. Decorative film is very different than automotive film. You have to have printers and all kinds of knowledge, right? This is a major endeavor. Now, window film in general, we all liken to the same thing because it's putting sticky stuff on flat surfaces, right? That's great, but they're so different. Your knowledge has to be different. Your education, your whole team has to know and speak that language very well, or your competitors that are very good at it are going to kick your butt. Security is no different. So it's easier if you have a little bit of time to step away from the day-to-day installation, the day-to-day sales, take a step back, really learn all of the material, teach your staff, and then go to market. The cost of acquiring customers in security window film is extensive. You're not going to run an ad or put an ad in a magazine or do any of that kind of stuff and get people to call you for significant amounts of security. You might get Mrs. Jones and a couple sliding glass doors through an ad in a home magazine, and that's fine. But I'm talking about real success in security. I'm talking about facilities, protecting facilities, homes, celebrity homes, stuff like that where there's real money. So I built my business quite a bit, but all along I was learning about window film. I went to one of the manufacturers, has a university, I won't mention their name, but it's a very good program and it changed my life. And I learned a lot about blast waves, the way they bounce off of buildings. I got hooked. And it's a lot. When I go talk to my customers, they gravitate towards me because they really feel like I can solve these problems. Because I have that knowledge base. And my staff does too, because we're constantly doing workshops, working with our staff to train them. If you're not experts in security, you're not going to win the job. Unless it's pre-spec'd and then it comes down to price, that does happen. But so people say, how did you break into and become successful in security? Because it wasn't through advertising, it wasn't through Google searches, it was through demonstrations and trade shows. And this is one of our demos. You can see behind us there, there's several wooden structures holding glass and they're all smashed. We did a presentation, about a 20-minute presentation inside the ballroom. Then everyone came outside, we bought them lunch. We put up 3 different bucks, we call those bucks that hold the glass. One side's annealed, one side's tempered. There's 3 of those. One doesn't have any film, one has only film, and one has film and attachment. And we take a heavy tool and a microphone like this and we tell them what we're doing, and we smash those windows to show them the difference between like a tempered window. I mean, you can get in the building in 2 seconds. There's been crimes where people just shoot a window and they're in the building in less time than it would take to unlock a door with a key. So showing them this is very impactful, pardon the pun. But we smash all these windows, and once you see a guy standing outside smashing a window and you hear that sound, you're not going to forget it. You're going to go home and you're going to talk about it over dinner. You're going to talk to your friends at the water cooler. And so people start talking about these demonstrations. They leave a lasting impact. You're also building trust because you're really talking a lot about the products and helping them understand what really works, because people don't understand security window film. They really don't understand it at all, especially when it comes to the different types of glass. So doing these demonstrations, we started getting calls. We got a call from, this is a TV show called Celebrity Page out in Los Angeles. There's a lot of people that get broken into, celebrities. I don't know if you saw in the newspaper yesterday, Rihanna got broken into again. The bad guys are coming through the windows and doors. That's how they're getting in the house. So when we talk about ways to protect the windows and doors, people listen. They're like, oh. So they brought us in, they said, we need to do a story on how to prevent people from breaking into celebrity homes. Will you do it? And they coined it security expert to the stars. And it was so, I don't know, it's kind of, I wasn't quite sure about that. I said, okay, that's fine. We did it twice. We did one for window film and one for our security screens. They brought us back. It was really successful. Well, that led to more people talking, and that started getting more speaking engagements. So now I'm presenting to loss prevention professionals, school resource officers, all people in law enforcement, everyone that's in charge of protecting facilities, people, and property. And that led to bigger ones. So this is a whole ballroom full of people in the medical. They have a problem with people breaking and stealing pharmaceuticals. Very easy to sell this stuff on the street, so they're a big target. That's how I did it. That's how I grew the business. It was word of mouth, earning trust. By the way, if you have felonies and DUIs, I think Mike alluded to that, this might not be a good avenue for you. Because when someone's going to invite you to come out to a high-profile celebrity's home or a very sensitive corporate structure, building or infrastructure, they're going to do their background check on you. And if they do hire you, you won't even get the call if you have problems on your record. But if they do call you, then they're going to want all of your installers to pass background checks. So we just did an Air Force base, and our guys, I mean, they would search the vans. I mean, it's crazy. So you got to have a good staff. You got to have clean driver records. We do not hire people with a record. We drug test randomly, and we background check everybody. And I'm sad to say, there's some great installers out there with bad records that they just don't work for me. So this is kind of cool, like a little cartoon. Nothing funny about bomb blast. But if you're going to get into this business, you have to really understand the pressures, the tear strength, the different adhesives, the different thicknesses, the way films are made, what they're designed for. Is it for human impact? Is it for bomb blast, petrochemical, petroleum blast? Is it for weather or earthquakes? What are we trying to prevent? What are we trying to stop? So on the surface it seems, oh, we're going to put some thick stuff, we're going to stick it on your windows, that'll work. It's much, much deeper than that. So when you start looking into the real technical side of this, and you get a face like this, probably not for you. This is a very technical business, and you're basically starting a new business. So if you're not already running a security business, you're going to add security to it. You're going to have to go way down the rabbit hole and learn all this stuff. This is the face I get when I go to see my tax attorney. I'm like, please don't make me read any of this stuff. I can't stand these legal documents. I get that face, right? I'm never going to be a lawyer. There's no way I could be a lawyer. This is something I was alluding to earlier. If you're not going to put in the time and protecting people and property isn't the why for you, I would just move on. I wouldn't do it. That said, if you're a sheepdog and you like to go out and protect people and property and you really geek out on all things technical and you're kind of an engineer nerd kind of person and you like all this stuff and you like to see videos of windows being blown up in live shots or shock tubes, which I'm a complete nerd when it comes to this, so I just thrive on this stuff. I get in a conversation, I can talk for hours and people will listen and go, ugh, But it all boils down to selling the right system for the right need. We're filling a gap in the fenestration, which is the number one real vulnerability in buildings. You think about that. Terrorists love glass. They'll detonate a small shot. They'll wait for everybody to come to look. What was that big boom outside? The windows fill up with people, and then they detonate a bigger one. And that shrapnel The number one cause of death or injury in a blast is flying glass. It's not the blast, it's not building collapse, it's the glass. So you have to know your stuff because you don't want to be on the wrong end of the liability suit on that, believe me. So you really got to know your stuff, you got to have integrity. And as an industry, we really have to be careful with what we do when it comes to putting out testing data for specific types of glass. I don't want to get into this, is a very controversial slide here, I understand. You can go to my YouTube page, enter in Campbell Window Film, and see this video. I try and do a lot of educational videos to help the public find information that they're looking for. But sometimes we'll test on one type of glass and then the customer doesn't realize they don't have that kind of glass, and someone will sell them that solution anyway because the customer's not asking about the glass. And that's not a good solution because they think they're getting the right protection, but they're not. As long as you're being honest and you say, yes, this solution works on this type of glass, but yet we have to change your glass, that's great. No, I mean, if it works, it works. But we have to be honest and we have to tell people the truth because we can't handle the bad reputation. It will begin to tarnish and that turns into rust and that turns into decay. And then window film, all of a sudden, no one wants it. And that's, so I'm really, really concerned about this topic about integrity in the industry, in case you can't tell. That's why I'm saying, if you have the right mindset, you will kill it in this business because the competition usually doesn't. And you can go in and just talk circles around them. And with your great record and everything, you'll get a lot of business. That's how I did it. So I want to talk a little bit about org charts here. Let me see how much time I have. I'm going to wrap it up pretty quick here. Everyone know what an org chart is? Org chart is basically how you plan. You look at which people you're going to put in your organization to grow to a certain size. When I first started out, I didn't know anything about business. I didn't have an MBA. I didn't go to college. And this is pretty...
Didn't have a comb.
What's that?
Didn't have a comb.
Didn't have a comb, no. A lot of things I didn't have. I didn't have a pair of jeans without tears in it either. But my first org chart was something like this. It was, I said, okay, I can probably do 150,000 30 years ago money. But what happens is that you're working for someone else and you think, oh, I can make all this money every day. I'm clocking in at 8 and getting the rolls of film, I'm going outside, I'm tinting until 5, I come back, I got all these checks. I just got to do that for myself and I'm going to be wealthy. I cut this guy out of the deal and I can take all his money. The problem is you don't realize that someone else did the sales, the marketing, they changed the oil in your truck, they loaded the truck for you, they paid the rent on the place, they did all the human resources and payroll and everything else that it took to run the business for you to be able to go out all day. So then you start your own business and you realize, I can only work 4 hours a day and I'm working 6 days a week, but only 4 of them are installing film so that I can do all those other things. And you realize you're going to make a lot less money because of all that admin time and everything that you're doing. So then you realize you've got to get an assistant, right? The one takeaway, because I don't have time to go into this, I could talk about this particular topic for quite some time, but one of the things that's really important for us small window film companies to realize, your producers are the only guys that matter when you're figuring out how much money you can make. Okay? We have a system at Campbell Window Film called our gross profit per man day formula. Anybody heard of this? How do you know how to allocate your overhead to a particular job, whether it's 2 sliding glass doors or a whole office building? And the way we do that is we look at how many producers we have and then we extrapolate how much they can do in a day over an entire year. We take out sick days, we take out holidays, we take out the GC didn't show up, somebody didn't have the key. Take out all those days, the dud days and everything. And you figure out, generally speaking, this guy tints about half as well as I can. So he can do this much money a day. This guy's a rock star, he tints way better than me, he can do this much. And you kind of boil it all down to an average. And we call that the gross profit per man. How much revenue can those producers do a year? So if you have 2 guys, you're going to look at how much they can do. That's your total gross profit per man year. You break it down by month, week, day, and hour. And that will tell you how much total revenue, including profit, that you have to make every single day that they're working. You're going to know if you're breaking even or not only on the job, but on the month, on the week, and that's how we track it. So when you start out, it's hard to do that until you get a few employees. But once you start getting a lot of employees, you're going to have to get into this gross profit per man day formula, because it will tell you exactly how much overhead to charge. Because what you don't realize is a lot, especially in security, you got all of these mechanical attachments and all this stuff going on, and at the end of the job you put a bid in and you don't realize that you just lost money. You know, you're just thinking, well, I'm just going to do as many jobs as I can, and whatever's left over at the end of the month is how much money I make. And it's very hard to scale a business without being able to, you have to know your numbers very, very precisely. Okay, so I'll just skip on through here. One thing, now, these levels I have listed here were the levels that my company had as we grew. We had a real hard time getting past $500,000. What we had to do was pull the car off the track, redo all the systems, change out a bunch of parts, retune it, change the aerodynamics, figure everything out. We had to completely reorganize our company, put it back out on the track, and we ran for 2 years and grew. We shot up to $900,000 after we did that. We got to $900,000, we couldn't get over $1 million in revenue. Just like, man, we're fried. We have smoke coming out of our ears. So we did the same thing, we reorganized. Once we got past $1 million, I was like, I need help. I don't have an MBA, I'm not a business guy. I need outside help, so I hired a business coach. I hired an outside financial person, outside human resources. As small businesses, we can't afford to bring these people in-house, right? These are 6 figures, these people make a lot of money. So hire them, outsource them. Come talk to me in the Ambassador's Lounge. I'll give you a name of a guy that can help you with that gross profit per mandate. I'm not gonna throw something out there like that and then not help you figure out how to do it. Come see me, I've got a guy, and he will come to your organization and they will coach you, not just once, but ongoing. Because this is a little bit complicated, but it will change everything for you. So assuming that you have, oh, I'm sorry, one more slide. This is where we are today. We're somewhere between 5 and 10 million. We're hoping to get up to 10 million by 2020, if not sooner, in revenue, and we will, believe me, be reorganizing to get up to over that $10 million wall. But you can see now we have divisions, those little dark spots on those tiny writing. Those divisions are flat glass, security, and then we have our right glass division. Each, one person can only manage about 5 people, effectively. So you get up to about 7 people, and you need to start thinking about getting either an assistant manager or another manager. So we've got managers for all these divisions, department heads. One of them is sitting right over here. Hey, Ross. Okay, so a couple of last things here. If you ain't struggling, you ain't hustling. Anybody know who said that? Anybody like Grant Cardone? Does you know what Grant Cardone is? Real estate guy. I love that. That's true, man. I mean, you have to, if you're gonna grow your business significantly, you gotta figure out how much pain you can endure. How much perseverance do you have? I look at it like someone walking into a windstorm with debris hitting them in the face, and they're just walking right in it like that, and it's just hitting them in the face. Miserable, right? You just keep going. Never stop. And that's what you have to do to be really successful, and most people don't. They're like, screw this, man. I'm going on my weekends. I need to break away. I need to get my RV or do whatever I'm going to do. But if you really have that perseverance, and this whole entrepreneurship thing is like a game to you and like a challenge, you will be successful. One of the big problems we have is in the window film business, if you're thinking small, you're going to stay small. I look outside the industry. I've got a lot of mentors. I go all the way up the chain. Richard Branson, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs. These guys are brilliant. I watch all their videos. Bring in that outside information on how people are scaling their business and apply it to window film. Because we get in a little echo chamber bubble and we don't think of ways to break through and really change the business. And so this is one of the things that I do. I've got a lot of mentors inside the business, but look outside too. Bring those practices in. It'll change things. It'll spark new growth. This is my personal one. Smile, you woke up this morning. Every day I run my dog and it's ice cold wind on my face and I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm above ground. Think about all those generations before us on that page that turned. Right now, this is our page. Our little spark of light in time, and then we'll all be gone. And there'll be other people. This is it. We're here. I look out across the graveyard. I see all those tombstones. I think about all those guys that got their lives cut short. And I'm here. Almost feel a little guilty. So I have 16 hours a day to do something amazing. It's almost like a duty. So that gives me a lot of purpose. I'm here. I should do something productive. I should leave a legacy. I don't just want to breathe air and create garbage. I want to make the world a better place while I'm here. We all kind of have a responsibility to do that. That's good motivation. That'll get you out of bed. Okay, to recap, please don't get in the insurance industry. I mean, where did that come from? Don't get in the security industry if you don't have integrity. Know your why. Decide how much you want to grow and really think about that, because it's going to suck you down that rabbit hole, man. It's dark and deep down there. I don't know. It's not for everybody. Have the sheepdog mindset if you want to be successful. Go out, do some training, work with some security. It's a different breed of people. Make sure you like those people. If you don't, this security thing could dilute your efforts. You might want to double down on what you're currently doing, because this is like a whole other business. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of investment. If you do love it, it's kind of like there's a lot of opportunity out there. But just make sure it's right for you. And I recommend growing a little bit before you really take the leap. Learn while you're growing, then take the leap. Invest hard and heavy, and you'll get there. I'd like to continue the conversation with you on social media. Please go to YouTube, enter in Campbell Window Film, follow if you like the channel. I'd love to hear your comments. Mike, did you want to come up and say a few words?
We're going to move to questions. I'm sure some people have some questions. If that's okay, I might kind of chime in as well. A lot of security.
Sure.
So.
Yes?
I got into a security film after being on as a tourism analyst on 9/11, and we were starting to hire.
Yeah.
So we've seen this quite a bit.
Yeah, just walk away. I mean, people will buy for the wrong reason. All you can do is tell them, you know, that's why we do the demonstrations. I'll send them the video that I make of me smashing glass, and I'll just tell them, you know, if it's a bigger project, we'll even go out and do a demo specifically for them. You know, if it's a large, you know, facility or something, like you know, we'll invest that money in there. I mean, usually sometimes we'll charge them for it, and then we'll roll it in. If they buy from us, we'll roll it in. If they don't do anything, or they buy from my competitor, then we send them a bill. We have something called a collaboration agreement, which is kind of a nice way to say, if don't use me for my knowledge and my demonstration, and then go, you know, spec it and have somebody cheaper do it. So a collaboration agreement they have to sign, and they say basically, we'll do this, and it's free if you do the job. It's rolled into the price. But if you use my competitor, or you don't do anything in 90 days, 120, whatever you set that date at, we're going to send you a bill, and you have to pay it. And then if later, because it's taking you a long time to make your decision, you go ahead and purchase, we'll just refund that back into the purchase price. Most people find that to be very fair. Anyone else?
So going back to your different levels, at what point did you realize that you were reaching the next level?
Pretty much agony. My staff and I were just miserable. I mean, you know, we just can't keep up, and it's not running efficiently, you know. When I talk about that analogy, because I grew up in Charlotte, I used to work on the NASCAR track. Everything has a NASCAR analogy. I don't even like NASCAR anymore. I still use the analogies. But we pull the car off the track, and yeah, I mean, you've got to look for those efficiencies, because you could be running full bore and burning up all your money in inefficiencies. You've got the wrong employees, you're paying too many people, or you're overpaying someone, or your guys are running around and zigzagging all over town, and you're burning up all that windshield time. And then we'll look at that in our systems and figure out how to, we just put everything out in the war room on the table and go, what could we do to clean this up and make it more efficient? Same amount of revenue, just a lot more profit. And I think that that's part of it, you know, because you need money. Any growing business needs a lot of capital to keep fueling that fire. But, you know, we sort of start with, we're up against a wall, we can't seem to grow. Let's eke out some more efficiencies, let's pull back, take a year off, get our business consultant in, and say, what do I need to do to spark growth again? And it usually has a lot to do with saving up money, hiring people. And now you need a bigger office, you know, all that stuff. Yeah, it's hard to get over those walls.
I would add one more thing. It seems like the hurdle for most people, my guys have always been trained on nothing but 8mm security film.
Yeah, I mean, thick films are hard, you know, and there's other films out there that are thinner and stronger. There's lots of options out there, but it's all in the testing. You know, you have to believe in the testing. You also have to believe that the manufacturer is going to be there for you if something goes wrong. That's another common problem. A lot of film does turn brittle, and you know, the thing about security is, as it gets old and it gets brittle, it doesn't retain the same elasticity, so it's not as strong as it was. So something that I would recommend that you guys do, to another thing about growing your security business, is go back to clients that you sold to 10 years ago and their warranty is expiring, and let them know that they need its time. It's maintenance time. And tell them that we need to pull it all off and put it all back on. There's nothing wrong with that. It's out of warranty, it's lost its elasticity, it's liable to be brittle, it may not perform as well as the specification. Yes.
Yeah, do you use rubber attachment systems, or have a preference over that compared with Dow 995?
I think there's some really good ones out there. This is more a question for Ross up here, our senior technical advisor. He knows everything about these gull-wing and all the different extrusions. You can bend his ear later. But yeah, we stick mostly with the Dow 995 because we've got a really good crew that does that, and it looks OEM, you know, it looks like rubber. Before, when we didn't really have the skills and it looked like cake frosting everywhere, I wasn't happy with that. And so we had to rethink. That was part of our retooling. If we're gonna build your security business, you gotta have a good 995 guy. But I think we really like that product. I could talk for hours about all the cool stuff you can do to generate revenue and security. Like residential, adding film to the outside surface. If you can't attach it on annealed glass, very effective. I've tested it. I've smashed so many windows. And that was a shocker to me. Unattached, double-sided, annealed, dual-pane window is a bear. Forget it. I'm not going through it. You're gonna cut yourself. So that's a doubling the job on a residence. Anything else? Okay, well, thanks so much, everybody. If you found this content useful, please give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks as always for watching.